will work. Hey, what do you know? I did it right. Welcome to the place, live and in person, and online, obviously. If you're watching online, you know we're online. How about that? Anyhow, a couple of quick bits of business, and then we'll get into the message today. I hope the message today helps to make sense. I kind of like it. So I want to start today with this. If you had one question to ask God, what would it be? It has nothing to do with the message. It was just a thought that came to me. If you had one question to ask God, what would it be? All right, now that I got you thinking, welcome to pumpkin time. Everything's pumpkin. Oh boy, I was going to get some pumpkin creamer, but I forgot. So we'll have pumpkin stuff here all the time this month. So pumpkin this and pumpkin that. So if you're good at making pumpkin stuff, make some pumpkin stuff and bring it. People will eat it. There's no question. This Thursday night, I'm going to have a pumpkin pie. Why not? You go to Costco, they're $6 and they're monstrous. So anyway, there you go. They are really good. And I'm not a huge pumpkin guy, but I do like pumpkin pie. So all this other pumpkin stuff, like those pumpkin latte things, the women are going, yee, and the guys are cringing. So anyway, all right, so we're moving, we're packing in, there's free stuff. We'll be packing up most things this month. Your assistance is welcomed, and as a matter of fact, it's encouraged. The time and date to be announced next week. That's what I want to talk with the board about. Hey, when should we do this? Because what we'll do is we'll pack up a lot of the peripheral stuff so it's easy, and obviously we'll still have the things hooked up that we're using. There's free stuff in the northwest corner of the building. Making room at home, because I'll talk about that here in a second. Or I'll talk about it now. We're moving sometime in November. Certainly hope you're moving with us. That's the desire. I want you to come with us. Because temporarily we're going to set up. We'll return to the house, but it's better than before because it will have its own room and it has the outside. I've made the outside. It's got lights. It's got a little cover. It's just the canvas cover though, so you get the full effect of outside. We have 3 sides. It's like this patio area that's got walls on 3 sides and then a cover to keep the sun off, yet it's still outside. It's really kind of nice. We've cleaned that up real well. I'm taking my room. We're emptying it. I'm painting it. Going to put in flooring. So we'll have a nice temporary setup. Better than before, but we're earnestly looking for a better solution for our needs. This is because it's out of necessity. We're not moving back home, but we got to go somewhere. So really hoping, believing, praying. I come in here every Saturday and I say, well, Lord, this week? Not this week. Okay, well, let's just keep going then. So anyhow, that's what we're doing. We're creating space. So back to the free stuff. In the northwest corner, now there's a fireplace there, but somebody has dibs on that. There's books, there's other things, there's a dresser. Things will come and go too because I'm being able to help liquidate some of our abundance at home as well. So I've been bringing stuff down from home and it's almost all gone. So there's treasures every week. So look every week for maybe there'll be a new treasure in the northwest corner. And we really want to bless you with our stuff. You know, a lot of the things we get are because my wife's a real estate agent, and people are moving and she asks. Or people are moving and they leave it and I have to go clear it out and I go, oh, that's good. So, I'm just as bad. So anyhow, moving is always fun. But there's something exciting when you do move about sizing down, right? Dana and Debbie, you guys moved recently, about a year ago, and you go from big to small. The new room is about, from that beam to this beam, it's about this size, not quite that long. That's what the room is. That's 18 feet. My room's like 19.6. But the difference is, you sit in here and go, well, that's going to be tight. It's going to be tight, and then when you put up walls, it seems even tighter. But we're going to make it work temporarily. It'll be fine. It'll feel like the mini place or the temporary place. Communion today, bit of bread, splash of fruit of the vine, or in this case,
Kool-Aid.
Blue. Dennis likes blue, apparently. So we have blue communion. Is there a purpose for blue?
No worries. I had fistful and Beaver
Well, there you go. Now for something completely different. Attaboy, Dennis. But the real part about desire, about communion is a longing and desire to meet Him. He'll meet you right where you're at. He'll meet you exactly how you are. You don't need to fix yourself up. You don't need to get pretty. You don't need to be, oh, I've done everything right this week. No, it's just an opportunity to meet with Him and to thank Him for what He's done for us. It's called a time of remembrance. In your imperfect state. We do it every week. I do it twice a week because we do a Thursday night service. And by doing it every week, are you collecting old cups there? Yeah, man. We need to get somebody better at cleaning. Oh, wait a minute. That's my job. No wonder. So, I apologize for the trash. Yeah, I apologize for the trash. But this desire to meet Him, just how you are. Don't try to fix yourself. Don't worry about it. The beauty of meeting with Christ is just meeting with Christ. He loves us exactly where we're at, no more, no less. If you're doing well, if you're doing okay, if you're doing a little lousy, He wants to meet with us. And when we desire to meet with Him, it's amazing what happens in our life. Remember, this is a journey that we're on. Today's message, creating good news, ideas for sharing Jesus in the world today, part 4. All right, so let's review just a little bit quickly. A couple of the ideas we've shared. But how do we share Jesus in this postmodern world? Difficult time. Well, we first talked about it. Really isn't a whole lot different than it was when Jesus walked the earth, or when Paul and the apostles wrote most of the New Testament. It's really not a whole lot different. Really, the things that the difficulties we have way more conveniences, but same amount of distractions, same amount of everything, and we went through all that. But so how do we do it? Well, let's look at scriptures and see what they did in Scripture. Number 1, we talked about was impacting children. And when you impact children, you influence adults. You have an opportunity to speak into the mom and dad's lives. I got saved because of a little boy, looking for a school for a little boy. The grandfather wanted to put him in a Christian school. So we went out looking around. Careful when you send people into Christian schools, all of a sudden they meet with Christ. And I was as far away from God as you could imagine. Pretty much not doing anything right. But I had this draw in my life for a couple of years. But impacting children, it's amazing. And Jesus, He always wanted the children. Because He knew not only are the children precious. What? Who's this?
You have words on your face.
I have words about I like that.
Sorry.
Man. I'm always being direct. Sign of intelligence. Yeehaw! That was what I was thinking about. It was coming through my head. But the point is that Jesus, not only does He adore children, but He also knows that you get the mom and dads through children. Children just aren't out running around by themselves. And the ones that are, they really need the influence. The ones that don't have that strong home life, they really need it so desperately. So that's one way that we're able to, and it's just loving kids. It isn't preaching at them or grinding them. It's just loving kids and let God do the part. Another thing we talked about is just simply be willing. Are you willing? Do you desire this? Do you desire to share Jesus? I mean, there's nothing like leading somebody to the Lord. I'll tell you right now. For those who haven't done it, it's fantastic. Not only are they blessed, man, you're just blown away going, really, God, you let me do this? This is so cool. I love doing that. It's one of the highlights of my life. There's no question. So being willing doesn't mean you have to preach to people or do, no, but just being willing. Lord, yeah, I'm here. How would you like me to share? And we're going to share a way today that will speak to that. And then last week, I spoke in this, and this is one I really, really liked. The one who's the furthest away in your mind is closer than you think. Never give up and expect miracles. The one who you think, they'd never. Come on, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at how, because they're fed up with their life. Typically, this individual that is obnoxious and irritating is really fed up with what's going on in their life. And if Christ comes real to them, man, I like to say that they have round heels. You can just push them over. And they don't just fall for the Lord. It's incredible. It happens all the time. So the point is, never give up. Keep praying for them. And expect God to do a miracle in their life. Expect it. Why not? Expect it. When we have expecting hearts, it's amazing what happens. So, question. How have the ideas been helping you share Jesus these last few weeks? Opened up. Has anybody tried any of these ideas? It's quiet. That's all right. I understand. I hope you're praying. I mean, you should have said, yeah, I've been praying for Uncle Bill. Uncle Bill, boy, he is just that guy's got issues, man. I've been praying for him every day. I've been praying, believing God, expecting God. See, so if you've been praying for people, you have been doing this. Often that's really what you need to do, especially when you're close. It's amazing how they'll come to you with questions when you're praying. God does incredible things behind this. And I know some of you in here have been very impactful with children. Come on now. You know, when a believer is around a child, Mata, Jillian, Tanya, Christina, those are the young ones. You're full of the Holy Spirit. You're influencing their life. When you allow God to love your children, and I know it's easy for you to love your children 74% of the time.
That's really high.
Is that a little high? Christina's saying that's really high. Jillian? No comment from Jillian. Tanya probably thinks it's low. And I know Mata thinks it's low. Her boys are top notch, top shelf young men, handsome young men. They are top shelf. So you're doing it, but alas, today's idea is surefire, can't miss, everyone can do it approach to creating an opportunity to share the good news. Not only has this been hugely successful throughout history, it is flat out a great way to open up the doors to lifelong friendships. If you're good at this idea, and I know many of you can be, Jesus will shine in your life like never before. It will take some effort on your part. This is an effort part. There is some effort. Now, it isn't like I'm laboring to serve Jesus, but there's effort when you do this type of ministry. But you don't even need to preach or talk about the kingdom things if you don't want to. It's not about that. That can come up in conversation. Often what happens is it's drawn into the conversation without you bringing it up. I tell you, your believers and your friends are watching, right? I mean, Dennis, they're watching you at work. I know they are. I absolutely know they are. And that's a good thing. And I know Dennis isn't shy. But people are watching us. They watch believers. Your friends and family, the ones who are the naysayers, they're watching. This is a great way. You don't have to preach at them. Maybe just doing this. Matter of fact, it's one of the first acts of the resurrected Christ. You want to do one of the first acts of the resurrected Christ? He called out, fellows, have you caught any fish? No, they replied. When they got there, just a few verses later, they found breakfast waiting for them. Fish cooking over a charcoal fire and some bread. You know what I'm talking about, man? It's food. It's food. It's food. It's feeding people. Inviting people to your house. Going out to dinner. Breaking bread with friends. With believers. With non-believers. We all have non-believing friends. Invite them to dinner. It's going to take a little work. You're going to have to cook. You need to be a good cook. Right? You need to be a good cook. Come on, Kim, you're a good cook. No, you need to be a good cook. You do need to be a good cook. Or I guess you can get food to go.
Good takeout.
But if you're going to get food to go, you might as well eat there and enjoy the environment. My point is, and being a good cook can be cooking a hamburger. Come on, invite them over for breakfast. Who can screw up an egg? Right? Wow, this is a tough crowd, man. It's a tough crowd. The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. I believe women too. I believe man is the totality of humankind, not male, female. I believe the way to your heart is through your stomach. And I believe that when we take the effort and the energy to prepare the best that we can, it doesn't have to be gourmet. I'm a pretty good cook, but it's not fancy looking at all. It's standard fare, but it tastes pretty good.
Yeah.
Now Dana's a little fancier. Dana and Debbie, they're really good cooks, and their stuff's a little bit fancier. They're very fancy with their food. Dana cuts real well, and Debbie, man. Some people are really good at the presentation along with the preparation. And I love that. I just am not good at that. I work on the taste. But when people have a good meal, they're ready to talk. Now don't talk while you eat. But it's amazing how the comfort level rises, the walls lower, and you're able, and they just might say something to you. They might bring up something. There might be something that is on their heart, has been there for a long time, something they don't understand. Some of those verses that are always misunderstood or ideas that we don't get. There's something, and Jesus modeled this. It's still that way today, people. I love that. Girl singing in the back, that is awesome. So this is one of the ways Christ shows his love for mankind. He's by feeding him. Okay, so that's how Jesus did it. Well, what did the disciples do? It's like, yeah, Jesus fed it because he just kind of spoke, and all of a sudden there's fish. Oh, and by the way, after they said no, he said, oh, go ahead, throw your net on the other side of the boat, and you'll pull in 153 fish that you can't hardly drag to shore. He didn't say that, but that's what happened. And then when they got there, he had breakfast already ready for them. But plus gave them an abundance, so that's a whole other story. The point I'm pointing out here is that, yeah, Jesus probably just, okay, and he spoke, and all of a sudden there's like fish that are cooked perfectly on an open fire. He probably didn't have to, start the friction and spark it with a flint knife or anything. So what did the disciples do? What did disciples, followers of Jesus Christ, what did they do when it comes to stuff like this? Well, I'm glad you asked. In the book of Acts, Acts 2, 46 through 47, it says this: every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes, ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. Wow. Meeting together in their homes, eating. Inviting people into their home to eat. If you want to come over on Thursday, we'll have dinner. Right? That kind of stuff. What are you doing Saturday night? You want to come over? I feel like cooking a pot roast. I'm a vegetarian. Okay, do you want to come over next Wednesday? I'll make soup, or whatever, right? It's just like, there's incredible believers inviting believers. And maybe the believer that you invite has an unbelieving spouse, friend, child. Yeah, bring whoever. Just tell me how many are coming. And the next thing you know, you're just sitting together eating and enjoying. Just enjoy it. You don't have to preach at them. Believe me, it will come out, I promise. We are living in times where everything is shaking. This world is changing before us. It's incredible what's going on. Patience. But in patience, put your best foot forward. I don't have very good balance. My best foot forward is better when I twist it in. Put your best foot forward. Allow God to move. You'll be surprised because you know you want to share. Well, how are some of the ways you can share? Well, before you eat, say a prayer. Right? That's not offensive, Dan. You invite somebody over to my house, I'm going to say a prayer. It's the way it works. It's not offensive. Asking the Lord to bless the food. And Father, save that sinner from hell. No, I wouldn't do that. But you just pray a simple, heartfelt prayer, thanking the Lord. Minds are starting to stimulate. Minds are starting to stimulate. Those of you who have unsaved family members, you just pray. You have a right to pray. They won't find it offensive. And if they find it offensive, they're that person who's really upset and they're that close to getting saved. It's okay. Just keep doing it. Do it from a place of love. This is what these guys did. They continued to meet together in the temple courts. Doesn't mean that they went into temple. They met at the courts. They listened, hanging out a little bit at church, right? The church of the day, the temple. But that's where they met. They met and talked. My dad used to meet with 4 friends twice a day. I don't know how he ever did this. And they would go have coffee. My dad didn't drink coffee, so he drank hot tea. And they would sit and discuss the world, right? And fix all the world's problems. They didn't do a very good job because they still have problems. But that's what they did. They met in together. When we meet consistently with friends and people, the camaraderie happens. Enjoying the favor of the people. Enjoying the favor of the people. Something about being sincere, right? Where it says there, sincere hearts. Sincere hearts. You're enjoying what you're doing. It bugs me when Christians are just always grumpy. It just bugs me. Just smile a little bit. Be happy. My goodness, we're going to heaven. Life is good. No, I'm not saying to just always plaster on the plastic smile, but it's okay to laugh and have a good time. Enjoy ourselves. This is a wonderful life. As we start thinking about how wonderful this life is, we'll start realizing how wonderful this life is. A few months ago, I was feeling lousy. And I thought I was destined to always be overweight. Because I was really overweight. As you can tell now, I'm not really overweight. I'm actually under 200 pounds. I've lost 60 pounds. And I've done it through a desire, starting with talking to God. Lord, I feel lousy. I eat and I feel lousy. It was very unique how I came to this revelation. He lovingly smacks me upside of the head and gets my attention. It's wonderful. But when we talk to God, when we say, I enjoy this life, I don't enjoy the way I feel, I'm not enjoying this moment, but I really am so thankful for this life. It's incredible how it happens. I spent a year during COVID basically by myself. Speaking to them and learning how to speak to a phone. And a lot of time prone on this couch talking to God. Spent the whole year. I mean, I did. I spent a year. I didn't see people hardly at all. I was out every day. Didn't hardly see anybody. It's the process of spending time with Him and learning that, God, this is really good, but there's got to be more. He'll speak to your heart, I promise. I don't know why that came out. It just did. And this is a good part that I liked. This is the pastor's heart here. Adding to those being saved. How do we get more people saved? We get our friends involved in our lives, and then all of a sudden, after a few times, and I don't just mean like every third month. I mean, it's somewhat regular. Sunday I'm going to go to church. I've been thinking about going to church. You ought to come listen to this guy. He's a knucklehead, but he loves the Lord. He loves the Lord, and he'll reveal things in Scripture that are heartfelt. heart-spoken things. It's actually kind of fun. And there's always food. There's always something to eat. There's always coffee. There's always something. Why don't you come along? Maybe, who knows? But it'll be fun. It's not invasive. You can come casual. You can wear shorts, t-shirt. You can wear a suit. You can wear anything you want. It's amazing. That's how people get saved. And they might just say, you know what? I've been thinking about this Jesus thing. How did he become real in your life? It's amazing. I'm telling you. It sounds like, ooh, it happens all the time. Starts at a place of prayer, talking to the Lord. So, often, I got to bring this up, often there will be misunderstanding. Often there's misunderstanding. I want to remind you of this beforehand. Sometimes there's misunderstanding. You can graciously apologize and lovingly say, hey, it's okay. I really don't want to I'm not trying to push you away or anything. Let's just, let's play the back nine. It'll be all right. Golfing's a great place to go and create friendships if you're a golfer. So, for 5.5 years, we served a meal here on Thursday night. Not here. Started at the house, and then 4 years here. And it was a lot of fun and really enjoyed it. Met a lot of good people. People got saved. It got a little squirrely. I didn't quite know how to handle it, and we ended up stopping it. I understand all that. And it was necessary at that time in hindsight. But it's a burden that still burns at me, especially when I talk about something like this, right? This whole church was born on food. It was a food church. We serve the food, and then we serve the word, and then we all grow toward Jesus. Retrospect has a beautiful view. Maybe God is doing a stirring. Because I've been thinking a lot about that. And we're heading back home for a little while. And boy, God's been stirring in my heart. Thursday night is still going to be Thursday night. So who knows? We'll talk about that today in the board meeting. Who knows? Maybe there's a stirring going on in my heart. I'm not talking to her about it. Yeah. Well, she doesn't have to do it. I do it. So she just got to be in agreement. But anyhow, maybe there's a stirring. It's really, I just find amazing reality, especially when I look back, of the close friendships made starting with breaking bread together. But I'll also remind you of this. We'll end with this thought. Son of Man, on the other hand, this is Jesus speaking, feasts and drinks, and you say he's a glutton and a drunkard, friend of tax collectors and other sinners. But wisdom is shown to be right by the lives of those who follow it. Following wisdom is often a lonely journey. Following wisdom is often criticized and condemned by the very ones that you love and you want to help impact their life. Here are people saying that Jesus was a glutton and a drunkard. Where's the proof? Just because you hang out with people drinking doesn't mean that you're a drunkard. Even if you have a sip, I don't drink. I choose not to imbibe. Many people will have a glass, a social glass. And I'm not saying this right or wrong. No, that's for you to decide, however you want to do. Now, if you're drinking out of a bucket, then I'm thinking that's a big glass, and you might want to reconsider. But you know what? Some people have a little bit to drink. I get it. But if you're seen with somebody hanging out, and the person you're hanging out with isn't drunk, is passing out, is acting stupid, you'll get maybe called that. Same thing, right? That's why he follows it up with this sentence. Wisdom is shown to be right by the lives of those who follow it. If you're following wisdom, don't worry about what people tell you. Don't worry about what they call you. Don't worry about what they say to you. When they say things like that, I always look at them and just say, I'll pray for you. There's no comeback. Hey, Bill, what's your name, Bill? Bill, I'll be praying for you. And I love you. I understand. I'll pray for you. And they're kind of like dumbfounded. They really are. They're just dumbfounded. It's kind of like if you go to a restaurant for breakfast, and you order breakfast, and they go, how would you like your eggs? And you look at her straight in the eye and go, surprise me. What do you mean surprise me? I say surprise me. And then they kind of look at you. Some of them will just write down something. And others will look at you like, what are you saying? I just say, I'll have the eggs how you would have them. See, you're endearing yourself to people. Well, Brad, this is kind of weird. What's happening is we're creating opportunities at all times. Now, I might not ever get to lead the waitress to the Lord, but when you have this heart to engage people into what you're doing, instead of telling them what you want, you're going to draw them into your way of thinking. I just think it's fantastic. I have more fun with it. It makes me want to go out to breakfast. And I can do it with eggs because, really, it's an egg. Who cares how the eggs are made? Unless, of course, it's not hot. Because, those are really good. Those are eggs with attitude. That's a whole different thing. Or the quiche, right? It's just like fantastic. See, that's not eggs. That's a dish. But if you're just ordering eggs, it's just an egg. Do whatever you want. See, that's wisdom. Wisdom is drawing people into your environment. Everywhere I go, the Holy Spirit is there. Everywhere I go, I'm asking God. I don't say this 24/7, but it's always in my mind. Lord, open up the opportunity. Draw somebody into my life. Let me share. Let me love. Let me be kind. Let me be engaging. Let me be fun. Let me be happy. Let me be slappy. It's a great way to live. It's a whole lot of fun. Might even get you that girl in high school, young man. Oh, yeah. Ho, 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 ho. I'm telling you, Junior, you happy, you engage people, you draw them instead of tell them. Oh, my goodness. They're going to be lining up, young man. That's the way we do church, what can I say? Last thought. Can we get somebody to hand out the blue water? Yeah, the Kool-Aid. It's never too late to change direction. It's never too late to change direction. Are you cold? Is it cold, man?
I get chilly by breakfast.
Never too late to change direction. Never too late to add an element into your life. Little by little. And boy, I tell you, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. The element of communion with Christ is the most important. Now we're having communion, but I'm talking the communion, the speaking with Jesus, the talking with the Lord, the hanging out with Christ on a daily basis, the engaging Him in our thought process, the idea of, Lord, you're so real in my life, and yet I'm not seeing you move. What's going on? And I believe you would just be saying, you know what? Just hang out with me. I'll show you. There's stuff going on. You're just not seeing it. I'm always doing stuff. What I'm trying to do is to get you to engage me. Because when you engage Jesus, He will change the environment. You'll see a difference. You'll go from being 260 plus pounds. Because I quit looking at the scale at 260. I look back, and this is a year ago, not even a year. I've lost this weight in, 5 months or so. Maybe 6. Yeah, 6. It was right around my birthday. Crisis of time, turning 62. But I look back at some of the old videos, because I'm on video, and I'll get these highlights, and I'm thinking, wow, who's that chubby cheek dude? It's amazing. Little by little by little by little. Engaging the Lord. He draws you to the place. What are you hungry for? I'll be honest. It's on the other slide. This is what I'm hungry for. I want to see people get saved. I want to see people get saved. I want to see that more than anything. The older I get, the closer I am. Every day I'm a day closer. It's same for all of us. I just happen to be longer in the tooth than many of us. I just want to see people get saved. I want to know that they are choosing Jesus. You don't have to be crazy. You don't have to swing from the chandeliers. But they open their heart and say, God, come into my heart. There's something missing. There's this vacuum. Communion with Christ, for those of us who know him, helps to feed that thing that was once missing. Because he's come into our life. Now we will feed it spiritually. Because he's working on our mind to align our mind with our heart. You know, guys, your heart's perfect. Well, you don't know the way I'm acting. That's your mind that's acting that way. Your heart was restored, renewed when you accepted Christ into your life. You have a perfect heart. This thing's in the way. When I was younger in my life, I used to say, off with the head. If we would just off of the head, our hearts would lead us everywhere perfectly. We have a perfect heart. God is drawing us to the place to believe that and to understand that and to know that we can take that best foot forward and know that God is with us. What are you passionate about? Today during communion, I pray that you'll ask the Lord, help me with this thing I'm passionate about. Let us partake. It's hard to be serious here. Looking at that blue, it's hard to be serious. I'm choking on the cracker and I'm looking at blue. This is beautiful. The grace of the Lord. The grace of Jesus is here. The grace of God is speaking right now. He's speaking to your heart. Listen. Just listen. I'll shut up. Just listen. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Father. Pray today, Father, that more and more people will just allow you to speak into their heart. Draw them, Lord, to those places. It'll be scary. I know it's going to be scary. It's always kind of freaky weird at first, Lord. But boy, then it gets exciting. Then we start expecting it. Father, I pray right now that you'll speak to us and draw us. Thank you for the blood. Thank you for your presence. Where would we be without you? That's my question. Where would I be without you, Lord? It's the one question I would ask you. Because you know. You know where I'd be. And I want to say thank you, Lord, that I'm not there, that I'm here with you. Thank you for taking care of me and loving me. And I pray right now, God, you'll draw those who need you to the foot of the cross. Let us partake. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus, for today. Bless this wonderful group of people. May they see you. May they hear you. May they feel your lips upon their cheek, as I often do. I often feel you so close, God. I pray right now, Father, for that closeness, that touch. Lord, I pray that we would expect